Good morning, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the City of Lynn. Thank you all so much for being here. Excited to be joined by some of my colleagues in local government. Councilor at Large Brian Fields, Councilor at Large Nicole McLean, Ward 2 Councilor Obed Matul, Ward 3 Councilor Coco Allensug, Ward 4 Councilor Natasha Meji Madri, State Representative Pete Capano, the nominee for the next state representative, Sean Reed. We have our DPW Commissioner Andy Hall, Planning Director Aaron Clausen, and so excited to have you all here. We'll be hearing from our speakers soon, and former mayor and on the board of MassDOT, the MBTA, Tom McGee. Thank you all so much for being here. We are so excited to celebrate this incredible investment in our residents' safety. This is really a game-changing opportunity, and we're so grateful for the federal government and our partners at the state for making this possible. I'd like to thank the Lynn Safety Traffic Task Force that worked on this application, the Planning Department, Community Development, ISD, DPW, Police and Fire, the Traffic Commission, as well as my office. Thank you for your great work on this. Thank you to our partners in the legislature, our state delegation, our federal delegation, my partners on the council. Thank you to Tool, who wrote the application, our consultant, and a huge thank you to the Healy Driscoll administration and MassDOT for participating in a really meaningful way for us to get this through. And most of all, thank you to Deputy Secretary Trottenberg and the United States Department of Transportation for this incredible award. We are so grateful and so excited to be working with you. Safety is everybody's top priority, and we have safety issues on our roadways. We average 3 fatalities a year in a city of 100,000, and we are learning more and more about how we can take that principle that safety becomes first to more of our work, and particularly into the design of our roadways and the physical nature of our streets and sidewalks to make them safer. And this grant is going to allow us to do that, allow us to pursue evidence-driven, data-supported changes to these roadways to make them safer. The grant is going to allow us to make these fixes at just 17% of our streets, so 1 in 6 roughly. But those 17% of our streets represent 86% of our traffic fatalities. So this is an incredibly meaningful step forward for our safety, and we're so excited to be taking that opportunity. And I want to thank again the council for the step that they took to adopt the goal that the federal government has put forward for communities for Vision Zero, that vision of eliminating traffic fatalities and serious roadway injuries, that the principles behind the design that we're going to be implementing through this grant. In addition to safety, a transformative investment like this helps us remake our roadways in ways that support our broader goals as administration of inclusive growth, making sure that we're growing in a way that benefits everyone, and tackling some of the hurdles and barriers to growth and some of the hardships that can result as a factor of growth, and making our community easier and more comfortable and safer for everybody, and also improving regional connectivity. We're on right here the line for a neighboring town. You can see the businesses that are sprouting up, and the investment that comes with projects like this, the Northern Strand that we're standing on, the community path that's headed down to the ocean here, and then the intersection that we're going to be remaking with these funds show that not only do we have the safety benefits that come with a grant like this, but economic development and growth benefits as well. So we are just so excited to make this announcement, and we have a wonderful lineup of folks that are here to celebrate with us, and I am so honored to welcome our partner in government. We think about intersections all over the city, and she thinks about intersections all over the Commonwealth. She's an incredible leader, knows cities so well, and a wonderful partner in government, Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be here. As some of the folks from Lynn know, My father was a proud West Lynner, and my grandparents lived right on Winniperket Ave, not too far away. So it's always great to be in West Lynn, celebrating certainly major awards like this. Everyone in Lynn has been doing such a tremendous job ensuring that they've got the resources they need to tackle this really thorny issue. When I was mayor, I used to say our roads were built for horse and buggy. Really, they were. And so to be able to have these investments to help bring things forward in a meaningful way is so terrific. And I really want to thank our United States Department of Transportation Deputy Secretary Polly Trottenberg, no stranger to Massachusetts, for all the time she's spending here, not just delivering checks like this important day, but also helping us think about how we can grow a modern day infrastructure system. And Congressman Moulton, who has been a cheerleader for all of us on the North Shore, ensuring we're connected to the resources that are available in this Biden-Harris administration is so key. We were together yesterday. It's great to see you again today as we celebrate this major award. And we've got a strong partnership, not only at the local level, but with our legislators who are here. So thank you, Senator Crichton, who chairs transportation. So we are often together talking about ways we can invest. And obviously, Rep. Armini is here as well, who also represents Lynn. And the legislature has done a great service to us in terms of partnering on resources and policy that can make transportation work in communities, and we want to do more of that. But today we're here to celebrate $25 million in federal funding for Massachusetts. We're really proud of how aggressive we've been going after federal dollars. If you know Governor Healy, she's not playing. We are in this to win it. We have a federal funds office. We are going after every dollar we can. And this Safe Streets for All program is illustrative of that. Think about it, something called Safe Streets for All. Who can really be against that, especially when you're talking about resources that are going to prevent fatalities, improve local intersections? You know, according to MassDOT's own research, we've got 80,000 crashes so far this year alone. And almost 2,000 of those crashes involve pedestrians or cyclists. And you think about resources like this, as the mayor mentioned, 80% of their crash history is now going to be addressed through this one grant, Improving Corridor, in a way that is hard to do on your own in a nearly 400-year-old state. We really do need to have resources coming from all levels. And to be able to provide safer roadways also means we can grow our economy and help ensure we've got a high quality of life in our neighborhoods. And I think that's really important to all of us. Anyone who lives in a city or a community knows that transportation has a big impact on your quality of life. So we love this all-of-government approach to tackling challenges like that. MassDOT putting our resources together, federal funds putting their resources together, and in our case, our federal funds office really trying to partner with communities on technical assistance and the like. So I just want to say a great deal of gratitude goes to USDOT, to Congressman Moulton for his support of the legislation that provided these sorts of resources. When we think about how we partner to solve the really tough problems, whether that's Cape Cod bridges or Alston multimodal big mega projects or corridor improvements in communities, that's when government is at its best, working together to improve safety, quality of life, and be a driver for the economic growth we need in communities. So congratulations to the City of Lynn and to the other communities across Massachusetts who are receiving awards today. I'm really grateful for the leadership, and I think it's my opportunity to bring up Deputy Secretary Polly Trottenberg to offer a few words, and again, with gratitude for the resources you're investing in Massachusetts here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. Thank you, Lynn, for this gorgeous day. I am no stranger to Massachusetts. I'm actually, I don't know what that rumble is there, a local, and I know there's nothing more beautiful than a crisp fall day in New England. Thank you, Mayor Nicholson, Representative Moulton, Senator Crichton, City Council President Jay Walsh, and I know so many of the elected officials gathered here today, as well as Maddie Valerie from Massachusetts Senior Action. I'm glad also Massachusetts DOT Undersecretary Hayes Morrison is here. And I want to point out the DOT team, Massachusetts Federal Highway Division Administrator Joyce Singh and other members of the DOT. Give them a round of applause. They do excellent work. So I have the great honor of representing the Biden-Harris administration, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, as we gather to celebrate the $9.6 million Safe Streets Award here in Lynn, and as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, some other dollars that Massachusetts has won all over the state. So first of all, congratulations to Lynn. You are one of 354 communities that's receiving over $1 billion in the latest round of what is a very competitive program. And I just want to note the implementation grants, the work you do to actually build projects in the streets, only 1 in 5 cities who applied got those dollars. So congratulations, job well done. It's a very competitive program. And just to sort of give a sense of the national scale, we have now awarded over 2.7 billion in the Safe Streets and Roads for All grants in 1,400 communities all over the country. And I do particularly want to give a shout out to the congressman and all our partners on Capitol Hill who helped us pass the bipartisan infrastructure law that has given us these dollars and the ability to spend them on such innovative programs. And one thing we're particularly proud of with this program, we designed it so that projects could get up very quickly. The dollars are flowing to a great variety of communities all over the country. About half of them are underserved low-income communities. Over half have never gotten a federal grant before. So this is an opportunity for them to start getting federal dollars. Half are in rural areas. And more than 40% have populations under 50,000. So a lot of communities that don't typically get federal dollars. So we're really proud. We think we found a formula. It's a large federal program tackling a national problem. We have a tragedy now of over 40,000 roadway fatalities annually in the United States, but we're working at the local level, very much with local elected officials and community leaders. The other nice thing about this program, it's creating a growing community of practice, led by a lot of innovative mayors like Mayor Nicholson, sharing all of the ways that cities can work together, to make our roadways safer and tackle the engineering, the enforcement, the public education, the fiscal and the political challenges sometimes of doing that. And look, as the mayor said, we know here in Lynn, you have an urgent need for safer streets. Tragically, you've had too many people losing their lives or facing catastrophic injuries over the last 5 years, particularly pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcyclists. And look, we know well the toll that takes on families in local communities. We also know here in Lynn, as the mayor said, you've done the research and the data gathering needed, led by your principal planner, Aaron Clausen. Where is Aaron? Right over there. Aaron, don't be modest. Aaron is the man who did the data gathering and the research to target the roadways and intersections in the city that were most in need of safety improvements. And look, it's a lesson I learned. I was transportation commissioner in New York City. And we discovered in New York City, just as the mayor mentioned, that oftentimes in New York, it was about 10% of the corridors and intersection were responsible for 50% of the fatalities and serious injuries. Sounds like here in Lynn, it's an even smaller proportion responsible for a larger proportion of crashes. But that means your targeted approaches, I think, will really bring tremendous safety gains. And I know you're going to be working in 17 miles of your high injury network, doing a lot of the proven things that make roadways safer, raised crosswalks, daylighting, signs, bike lanes, you name it. And I know this funding is going to hit 4 key intersections, including the one right here, where obviously you see a lot of challenging traffic patterns, this wonderful, now beautiful bikeway. It'll be a great place for safety improvements. And I want to just take a minute now to, in addition to celebrating Lynn, to recognize here with the Lieutenant Governor and her Governor Healy, what an incredible job Massachusetts has done, has been a real leader in roadway safety. The state was actually one of the first to adopt a complete street policy now almost 20 years ago, followed by a lot of state support. And I know that that's part of what went into winning the grant today, to help local governments make safety improvements. And I think, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, Massachusetts has knocked it out of the park in terms of taking advantage of the federal resources of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Now $2 billion in discretionary grants in funding all across the state, including, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, the Sagamore Bridge to Cape Cod, big work in the Alston neighborhood, and 44 communities around the state that have gotten Safe Streets and Roads for All dollars, including now Lynn. So, Lieutenant Governor, congratulations. Massachusetts, as usual, punching above her weight. So I want to just conclude by saying these projects are so important. We talk about numbers and fatalities, and I always like to say these aren't just numbers. These are our family, our friends, our coworkers, our neighbors, and we've had a little good news. We have seen, I'm proud to say, in the time of the Biden-Harris administration, after years of roadway fatalities increasing, particularly during the pandemic, we have now gone the 9th consecutive quarter, so over 2 years, seeing those numbers start to turn and fatalities go down from a high of around 43,000 to now around 41,000. It's an encouraging 2-year trend, and we really think part of it is the amazing work that is happening in local communities all over the country. but we also know we've got a lot more work to do and a lot more lives to save. So we're excited about this project and other ones around the country and look forward to being your partner, Lynn, every step of the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deputy Secretary and Lieutenant Governor. We are so grateful for our support at the state and federal level, and it is my honor to introduce another partner working to help bring federal dollars to this community, Congressman Seth Moulton.
Thank you, Jared. So just to put this in perspective, the Deputy Secretary said that there are 354 grants for this program all across the nation in this current round. Well, there are 353 cities and towns in Massachusetts. So Lynn did a really good job. And I've spent a few minutes up here whispering in the Deputy Secretary's ear about why that's the case. It's because we have such a talented team. At the state and local level, we have an incredibly talented team. By the way, we also have some really talented alumni, like Pete and Tom over here, who are helping behind the scenes. They don't get to stand up here anymore, but they're instrumental in getting us to where we are and continuing to help when you frankly should be retired. I did see Pete at a kids' soccer game this weekend, but we have a really talented team. Let me just also take a second to say a couple words about the Deputy Secretary, who you may not know as well. I don't know if there's anyone in Washington, Polly, who knows more about transportation and has more experience literally running transportation than you. And I remember when you were appointed to Deputy Secretary, I felt incredibly relieved because I was like, all right, we're gonna have some really knowledgeable leadership at the department, and you've been doing an extraordinary job. So the country is lucky to have Polly, and we're lucky to have her here today. There were 2,700 accidents, traffic accidents in Massachusetts every year that result in death or serious injury. 20% of those involve pedestrians. That translates to 500 families a year whose lives are upended because of crossing the street. Sadly, this really hit home for me not long ago when a 4-year-old girl in Andover crossed the street with a walk signal with her family. She saw the walk signal, walked out, and she was hit by a semi, by a huge truck. She actually was knocked over. It tried to stop the truck from going forward further, but then the truck went forward again and ended her life in front of her entire family, including her little brother. That's just one of the 500 families whose lives was upended last year by tragedy. And think about that. Think about crossing the street with your daughter with a walk signal. And it's not good enough because our streets are not safe. So we have to do a lot more here at home in Massachusetts and across the country to make sure that the simplest act, like crossing the street with a walk signal, is safe for our community. When I was driving my girls to school, 3 and 5 this morning, somehow we got into a conversation about what I've done in life and what schools I went to growing up. And when we got to the Marine Corps, I said, that's the most important job that I've had. And my daughter quickly said, well, wait a minute, why is being in Congress not more important than being in the Marines? And I said, because in the Marine Corps, your fundamental duty is to keep people safe, to keep this country safe. And that's our first duty here. I can't do the fun things as a member of Congress if we can't begin with just keeping everyone safe. This grant is a step forward in simply keeping people safe. And as several people have said, the mayor and the deputy secretary and the lieutenant governor, Lynn has been a pioneer in not only safe streets initiatives, but also inclusive safety and traffic plans. So what does that mean? What do inclusive streets mean? Well, you all know that I grew up in Marblehead. Lynners love Marbleheaders, right? Now, they're not showing up on Thanksgiving to cheer on Marblehead in the football game. But in a strange way, you know, my experience growing up with Lynn as a Marbleheader was actually very easy because we just flew through Lynn. You drove through Lynn to get to Wonderland or to get to Boston, and the streets in Lynn worked very well for Marbleheaders who were just driving through. Inclusive streets mean they work for everybody, including the people who are walking on the streets, not driving. For decades in Massachusetts, we've designed roads for driving, which is great if you're just zooming through, but not if you live in neighborhoods like these. Lynn has been a pioneer in changing that, in making sure that its streets serve Lynners first and all the rest of us second. That's the way that it should be. More recently, I was coming back from a Red Sox game with a friend, and we got off the train and stopped in Lynn for dinner at one of the amazing restaurants that's now literally in some places nationally famous here in Lynn. And then we got on the train when we were done to go to Salem. That's the future. Having the freedom, the opportunity, the convenience to be able to choose not to drive, not to zoom through the city, but to get off a train and walk, have dinner, take a quick, faster than driving ride to get from Lynn home to Salem. That kind of future is what we're investing in today. It is safer, it is more inclusive, and it does more to serve the people of Lynn than just everybody else. So I'm very proud to be here. Thank you very much to everyone who made this possible. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Maddie Valerie, a Mass Senior Action member, for a few words.
Good morning, Mayor Nicholson and our honored guests. My name is Maddie Valerie. I'm a proud member of Mass Senior Action. We are a statewide grassroots organization with our biggest chapter in Lynn. Thank you for having me here this morning. I'm excited to be here for the celebration of the $9.5 million to make Lynn's roads safer. When my organization goes throughout the community, we hear firsthand the challenges seniors face, and one of the biggest challenges is getting where we need to go. Safe and convenient crossing locations are limited. Cars parked at corners blocking our view of oncoming traffic, inconsistent traffic signals, and outdated infrastructure prevent so many from even trying to move about the city. This investment will not only make it easier for pedestrians by targeting safety projects and strategies to reduce serious injuries and fatalities in the city where the risk is particularly high, but more importantly, it will make traveling safer. We are thrilled to hear the grant will include the area surrounding our senior center on Silsby Street. Many seniors walk to the center and share how they dread a blocked crosswalk or a signal that turns too quickly. Raised crosswalks, speed humps, increased crosswalks, updated signals, and increased lighting will address these fears. Mass Senior Action empowers its members to use our voices to address community issues. We look forward to taking part in the community engagement that this proposal calls for to ensure we see the best return on this investment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maddie. We got some great work done in the planning department on this grant, and part of what powers that work is resident input, and that's part of what makes them so great is how good they are drawing people in. We are so fortunate to have the advocates from Mass Senior Action in our community who always step up to give that input and make all of our projects so much better. Thank you so much to Maddie and Mass Senior Action. Thank you. I now have the honor of introducing my close partner in local government, and we're in his ward right now, and so it's very exciting to now hear from Lynn City Council President Jay Walsh.
Well, thank you everybody for being here today. On behalf of the council and my colleagues that are here, we really appreciate that everybody on the upper levels of government was listening on this one. It's a team effort. They heard us, they heard our constituents, talked about how they wanted the streets to be safer, About 15 minutes before everybody came here today, there was a 2-car accident in this intersection behind me. Happens every day. So it's a testament to me that people hearing us and seeing us here today know that we're here to work on it. And we really appreciate that from the ground level of politics here, talking to our constituents. I can't say enough about everybody that's come together between our state legislatures, people on the federal level that have been talking to us. We talk to these people every day. We have their cell phone numbers, and they're hearing it from us, and they're listening. And it's a testament to it working. And we just want to thank everybody for being here and doing that again. Thank you.
The council president is not exaggerating when he says that these legislators hear from him every day. And it is my honor to introduce one of our partners here, State Senator Brendan Crichton.
Thank you, Mayor. Stole my joke, Mayor. I also hear from you every day. My wife's starting to get upset about all the late night calls, but it's an honor to be here today representing the Lynn legislative delegation, including Representative Cahill, Representative Capano, Representative Armini, and Representative Wong. Obviously, as you've heard today, this type of infrastructure investment, this type of major transformative project doesn't happen with any one individual, any one department, any one level of government. It starts at the top with the Biden-Harris White House all the way down here to the community path in Lynn. It's an honor to serve as the chair of transportation, but also with our Lynn legislative delegation working closely with the Haley Driscoll administration, who has always prioritized safer roads for everyone. For our cyclists, for our children, for our seniors, for those with mobility issues, who for so many decades have been forgotten when we think about planning and how we invest in infrastructure throughout our Commonwealth. But none of that can happen. All the best policies in the world won't make a difference without the funding. And this is a significant, I can't emphasize how significant investment this is for the City of Lynn. And that money will go to good use because, as the mayor said and other speakers have said before, we're all working together here in the city. So that's various city departments that are represented here today, from ISD to DPW to our law enforcement. We have our Lynn Police here today, to our planning department and our city council. We can't get these projects done if we don't work together. And that also includes working with our community members. I have to give another shout out to Mass Senior Action. I think every time we fight for transportation projects, we turn to you. The Sea of Blue shows up at the State House, they show up at City Hall. They're advocating for anything from when we passed our Complete Streets ordinance. Certainly needed support too for this community path. Representative Capano was on the ground level when we were on the city council with that. When you think about electrification of our commuter rail, they're there fighting for it. And when they're talking about means-tested fares, which are finally enacted, it was you at the ground level fighting for that and helping to build consensus. So it's a team effort. This is a big day for Lynn. Thank you, everyone, who took part in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you all again so much for being here. I want to say one more word about our planning department, because I think it says something about our city too. And I like to think of Lynn as kind of, and I've heard this from others before, a planner's dream community, because you have a diverse city, hardworking people with so much heart that are up against a lot, decades of systemic inequality, of disinvestment in our urban communities. And yet we have momentum. And so I think Lynn is doing great things because our residents have that will to improve. And, in a lot of ways, I think we're fortunate to have what a city we could think of as a dream planner and his team and Aaron. So thank you so much. Congratulations, Aaron, as well. Yeah. Thank you again to Deputy Secretary for being here. We are honored to have you here. It means a lot. And to all of our officials and partners, thank you. And let's keep up the great work. Thank you.
Just as a last